Okay, so last time we talked about um, still the same strengths, obviously, and areas of need, right? I wrote down some stuff that we talked about during our meeting on Friday, right?
Yeah.
So we'll just recap this real quick. So the things that you said that you needed to work on, um, simple mistakes that are involved are clear but are hard to discern in the moment. Um, example positioning wards, trading or lack thereof. What do you feel? If there's anything that you feel you've gotten better at, or that we can move it to a strength, we can do that. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because the end point, the goal of this is to move stuff from here to here, right?
hmm
To passive in lane, communication, about lane, objectives, positioning, team fighting, CDs of yourself or others. I think we've gotten a lot better at this, right?
Yeah.
A lot better at this, but there's still a way to go.
Yeah, I agree.
Indecisive Glue says indecisive is something I certainly struggle with too. I think over time we'll get better at this, and I'm telling you, as your jungler, to just yell at me to do stuff. I trust you, man. We gotta get on the same page to really ascend. True.
True.
Um. So Yao says positioning. You don't need to be there in the first place. So sometimes, like, you know,
Yeah.
a few times we get caught like that because we didn't need to be there. Gets caught out of love, knows the stuff, but does not communicate. Um, so, how would we respond to this? So, what are some things that we can do in a general sense?
Um, in a general sense, I was thinking about it after Friday. I think I just need to be more vocal in the team of when we're trying to do things and trying to coordinate things. Because I talked about it on Friday a little bit, but we like never do dives around the map, and that's something like we could easily work together. Is like jungle, sub mid, just roaming around the map looking for dives, and just generally being more vocal about. Because I already do the pre-objective checklist, and I should just vocalize that when I do it in my head, and then make sure everyone's on the same page, and we can do things about that. Because I think a lot of the issues with my positioning come from not being on the same page as my teammates about like how we want to fight objectives, like
Mm-hmm.
where we want to be and how we want to kite and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I put here, be more vocal when you are trying to do things, call for things, start the conversations, and most importantly, say what you think because you're thinking it, but we need to also say it so other people can also start thinking about it too, right?
Yeah,
Uh, we this is what we talked about in this point. I feel like right, communicate to jungler to
yeah,
roam. Mid jungle sub synergy before objective spawn, ping on the dot where and how you want to get vision, paint a picture. I think that has a lot of value when communicating.
mm.
I don't know. Have you watched some of the VODs from the pro? What is it called? The ProView VOD list that was sent by
I
Soldier.
watched like one LPL VOD, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
I was kind
So
of waiting for LCK to start before I started watching because I just know the players better.
yeah, but it's never bad to like watch what pros have done in the past because they're if it's the same people, well, obviously they're still gonna
hmm
continue doing the stuff that they've been doing, but add on to that or change it to become better, right? So some
Yeah.
things that me and Sora really saw that stood out between that really differentiated, you know, poor teams and good teams is that the good teams really paint a picture, even though you don't hear what they're saying or understand what they're saying. The picture that
Mhm.
they paint with the pings is so clear that you can just not listen to them and understand exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Uh, when communicating, ping out the picture. If that makes sense, right? Like where you're going to go
Yeah.
ward, where you're going to go, where you're going to stand, right?
Yeah.
And for example, if you're playing Thresh, you're over the wall, you're gonna ping where you're gonna stand, and you're gonna ping with like, you know, the control ping, where you're looking to hit the hook, right?
Yep.
Because like you can say some things, but if people don't really, but you can add onto audio stimulus and visual stimulus, you're golden, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sam passive, more input to how to lane. Setting up objectives, be louder and more specific. What is this? Some comment for this?
I mean, the latter half of it just goes back to what we've already written. I think the first one is just practice, or we need to practice more 2v2s with Sam so we can figure out more lanes. That session we had where we just played like Cog Melio and then other sides of the matchup made it super easy to understand the matchup, and we just need to do that for like all the meta matchups pretty much.
Yep. Practice. And if no partner, but you always know I'm here, and I'll drag lanes. I think those games you played versus Layton's Thresh was pretty eye-opening, right?
Yeah.
If no partner, always can do theory sessions. If you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So sometimes when I have questions about a lane that I'm not super familiar with, I'll ask people, namely Layton's, and he'll paint it out for me, and then I try it, I do it in game, and bam, I just win lane. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it can also be before the game. Like in the lanes that I'm super confident in, I do it where I'll talk to Sam and I say exactly how we want to play the lane, but I should also do it in the lanes that I like have less confidence in. So at least that way we're like on the same page of what we want to do in the lane. So just like before the game, communicate with Sam like how we want to play the first like 5 levels or 6 levels.
Always communicate how we want to play the first 3 waves.
Yeah.
Levels. Really important, right? This part.
Yeah.
Because then everything else is determined on that. And you're 6 and 6. Level 6. And everything else is just a product of what you did here.
Right? Yep.
Yes. I think this comes down to communicating with team. This part where, when, how to ward. The thing that I notice is that we, as a team, are not playing off of the right waves to do objectives, which makes warding difficult, right? And the wards that you do put down, they don't stay because we can't protect them.
They're on wrong timer. Yeah.
Yeah. But you've been getting better at the where. The where to ward has dramatically improved. And now when you obviously like everybody always has things to work on. But when you combine when you perfect the when and you combine it with the where, like how it's impossible for enemy team, right?
Yep.
Help communicate the when. Communicate with team when on the right waves. The right waves. Remember the steps. 1 is wave, right?
Yeah.
2 is warding. So we need to do this part first. Right?
Yep.
Let's write that in caps. Play optimally 2v2, which is just coming down to what we talked about earlier. Hit more skill shots. We talked about it briefly, but I still see it. And we can talk about this more.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put this in purple, I guess. Team fighting, positioning, taking damage, health as resource. I'm trying to recall what he meant by taking damage.
I think you mean it's just like the health as a resource thing. Just taking damage to put the team in a good spot positionally.
I think for this part, oops, not highlighted. This part here, there were 2 times, I think in 2 different games where we weren't with team and we died or chunked out, right? If you like the Lulu game.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so be with a team, especially if not on a flanker. / peeling on peel duty.
Yeah.
Because you can, for example, right? Rakan is that kind of champion where you can flank and you can, and in different games you have the duty of not pressing R until they go, right? And you're just literally sitting on top of your AD carry to have R, right? So if not on a flanker or a peel duty, we sit, we walk with team. Right? And that could help by pinging out. We can ping out where we're going to walk. Mm-hmm. Right? Or you can ping out where you'll meet up with your jungler to escort you, right?
Yep.
Ping out where you're going to walk. / meet. Teammate. Perhaps it's only just the one. For what's it called? Entourage? Nope.
Protection.
Ping out. I said it earlier. Teammates. For escort. That is it. That's it.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Okay, we'll come back to this and we'll talk about our goals. This one, how do you feel about this part here? So our goal is hitting Challenger by end of season, which is a long ways from now anyways.
Yeah.
But the mini goals that we have in the meantime, have you been looking at your VODs and your positioning?
Yeah, so at the end of my play sessions, I'll look through all the VODs and do like looking at the downs. I think, ironically, my positioning has gotten better, but I just have a different positioning problem now. Where now with the way that we're playing comps, I'm like trying to ride the line of like, sometimes my position is like super troll, like that Lulu game.
Mm-hmm.
But then I want to try and stay with the team and do the positioning that we talked about, where like we need to be like as a unit in blue comps and then walk together like that. But I feel like some games I'm like too far back or too far forward, and when I'm too far forward I die, and when I'm too far back I'm just useless. So I'm just trying to manage that and get that better, so that way it's like not an issue. Because it's super noticeable when I'm too far forward and I just die or get chunked out, and then too far back I feel like, I don't know if it's a huge problem, but I'm kind of nervous of it becoming a problem.
Yeah, so the thing with too far back, obviously too far forward is easier to fix, right? Too far back, sometimes you have to, well, obviously you have to recognize that not everyone is savable, right? Yeah. And so you only have an E, you only have a W, you only have a Q and an Alt for one time, right? And who you use it on matters. So
Yeah.
before going into a team fight, think about who the most important person is and what I can do to keep them alive, right?
Yeah.
Who recognize, which isn't hard, right? Who is most important for you to keep alive? Play with, if playing like and engage, right? If your job is not to necessarily protect, but most of the time it is 90% of the time. And what you can do to do that to the best of your capabilities.
Yep.
So sometimes, so like for example, is also understanding the importance of abilities in a sense where it's okay sometimes to just hold abilities for an extra second or 2 seconds, right? We don't have to cycle endlessly, right? Because if it's gone, then it's gone, right? Then you don't have it when you need it. If that makes sense?
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is something that you necessarily like put too much thought about or like know or like think about that part there where it's like it's okay to hold sometimes. Right? So something I tell Sora, which you can also remind him of, sometimes it's what is ability for? What is my ability for? Or what is the purpose of my ability? Right? What is the purpose of my ability? It's like kind of the similar thing to hitting throwing skill shots, right? For Sora, it's what's the purpose of my ability? Well, if the purpose is to clear the wave, then I'm throwing REQ to all 6 minions and not just the backline, right? So stuff like that. And will it hit? If either of those, like to question 1 and question 2 is no, we don't use it or don't throw it, right? But I think here's like, what is the purpose of my ability? And is the current situation fulfilling? Is using my ability fulfilling the purpose? If no, will it hit? And second of all, will it hit? First, ask the first question. If it's no, don't throw it or don't use it. If it's yes, and the second question is no, then we don't throw it anyways. Or use it. Is no, we simply don't use. Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add to this or change to this or thoughts?
The positioning, I think it's good.
Oh yeah, I remember now. So oops. This part here, right? And then you ask yourself from this point here, what is the purpose, right? And then that will help you determine your positioning. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like can I, like, who's the most important? Like, for example, if I have like a Scion and I have like a Jinx and they have like a Rengar and like I don't know, like a Attilio or something, right? What's my purpose for the game? Well, it's to protect Jinx, right? Because she's hyper carry. And if my Scion is being pelted at by, I don't know, they AD carry, but we have yet to see Rengar or Talia, I'm not going to use my E unless if I'm 1,000% sure that I can E Scion and react fast enough to ult my A to carry or polymorph the Rengar mid jump if he doesn't have cloak. But if he does have cloak, then we just save both and we E then poly him, right? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Purpose of my champ role. Well, ask yourself. You're supposed to ask yourself at the beginning of the game, so I'm not going to include that here. This good?
Yeah.
So everything else is good, but then we add on this, and this will become better. Yeah. Pre-game. Would you feel that about this part here? Pre-game preamble.
I feel pretty good about this. The only parts that I think I'm slacking on is the what abilities champions are a risk to me, and then major abilities to see. Like some games I do, and then some games I don't. So like it's kind of hit or miss.
Yeah. So Sora and I went through this too, right? It's part of his short-term objective as well, right? What I feel is, yeah, we don't go through the checklist. Fully go through. Should we go through a few of the points, but we don't go through the entire thing, right? So obviously, yes, we go through the beginning part, but then we forget the last part here, which is really important.
Yeah.
And sometimes we talk about this, but we don't remember.
Don't always.
Yeah. Like, for example, on Thursday, we played the scrim and we said not to fight in chokes, and then we fought in chokes and died.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a tendency to say it and then just forget in the game.
So I'll just copy paste that here. So basically, let's see here. During game, right, we want to remind ourselves. So we don't actually remind ourselves because we do not go through the entire checklist. But once we change that, it should be better. We should go through the during game checklist, which is just like a slightly version. Like it's just subtracting these two, right? And like these ones, right? Go through the checklist again before objectives, because we forget. We were good at it, and then we kind of sucked because our probably cognitive real estate went to playing blue comps instead. So we've kind of been slacking on other things, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we did the first week after the initial goal setting conversation. We were so good after like that week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were just smashing everybody. But yeah, cognitive real estate was eaten up by learning playing blue comps. So you just need to learn to set up objectives properly. I think regardless of the patch, the season, or whatever, the core concept that will remain the same will be how to set up objectives. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. But sure, yeah, there's different patches with different items, but you still want to set it up the same, right?
Yeah.
The core concept of setting up is still...
It's still there.
And once you, like, it's still like, what does my champion do? And what is the vision?
Yeah.
And, you know, stuff like that is always going to be the same. Or at least concept-wise, and then you tweak it a little bit depending on the patch, but, you know. But once you know, you know, and
Yeah.
then you can use it. So let's focus on completing this one. It's really important. So I'll leave this here as a thing that we'll keep working on, and we'll see the next one how we feel about that. So basically Sora, his thing, right? We did a goal, he completed it, and he's very proficient, and then we set a new one, right? So we'll keep working on this one. How do you feel about the next long-term goal of expanding champion pool?
So I've been working on de-rusting champions. It's still taking a while. I think it's like there's improvement, but there's still room to go.
Mm-hmm.
The second account, not DT yet. I just need to play more with Sam. I don't
How
know if
far are
Sen
you?
told you. We're like right now. I think we're P1 D4, so we're pretty close. Only a couple more games, honestly, because our MMR is still good, so we're getting good amount of LP.
Mm-hmm. So when do you think would be a reasonable goal to have this one finished then?
I mean, in 2 weeks, probably should be easily enough by like Father's Day.
By Father's Day. And like if you duo and you're in voice comms, like you can always invite me to come watch,
Yeah.
and Leighton's to come watch, or Sin to come watch, anybody to come watch. But if it's and like super try hard, if you're like super try hard and we're flexible, right? So if it's like, oh, you want us to talk after the game to give feedback, like, we can do that and stay silent while you guys focus. But if you want us to talk and give input like during the game, we can do that too. We can even like quick VOD the games that you play, at least the first like 5-8 minutes, and then move on to next while we're in queue or something, right? So ask either solo or duo. You can ask us coaches plus Layton's to come. Did I spell coaches wrong?
No, that's right.
Okay, I just didn't like the plus. To come watch games. We can do quick VOD. Each game. Talk during, but probably talk after. Whatever best suits your needs.
Mhm.
Right? Because like I'm the type of person who like won't because it's just like me who doesn't like to talk during while you're playing the game. But if that's something that, because I feel like, oh, I don't want to intrude, right? But if it's something that you
Yeah.
really need, I will talk, you know?
Mhm.
Okay. How about this part here? Do we play this champions at least 5 times a week?
Not 5 times a week.
How are we doing?
Let me look at the account. I don't think I played it that much. I would say bad off my memory. Let me take a look. Yeah, bad. It needs to be improved a lot. It's
Do
like
you
one time
think
a week.
do you think 5 is still reasonable, or do we want to cut this down a little bit?
No, it should be reasonable. I just had a busy week, so I didn't have much
Mm-hmm.
time, but now my schedule is back to normal, so I should be able to get back to playing way more Solukia.
Hi, Layton's.
Yeah, I'm ignored.
The champions. Busy schedule. So we will hop on the train. Like what so like by this stuff, is it more so you need help being accountable, or is it just too busy?
Before it was just too busy. Like I had my brother from the other side of the country in town, so it's just like trying to make time for him as well as trying to do league stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a little busy, but I mean now I'm back to normal. So I think, I mean, I'd appreciate accountability. Not gonna lie, just to make sure I'm on it, but I'm pretty sure I should be fine.
I can help you. To hold. And it's like, you know, um, be truthful to yourself, right? When I know like some people, not saying you would, but like, you know, I check up on them and they're like, oh yeah, it's doing okay. But like, this is ultimately for you, right? And be
Yeah,
real with yourself, right?
yeah.
Win 2v2s and neutral winning losing matchups. Did we finish watching the
Yeah, we watched through it.
okay, that's good. We have gotten better at the triangle,
Hmm.
but there's still room to grow. Uh, so instead, like the way that I see it now, so instead of being like really far apart, like 300, 400, 500 units, we are closer within like the parallel of the triangle. It's
Yeah,
more so like uh soldier you needing to step up or back off by maybe, you know, 200, 300, not so much like more than that anymore, right?
yeah.
So
I
we're
think
getting
it's a
there.
lot of split second stuff too now. Like one of us will decide the trade is over, and then we won't communicate, and then that's where the triangle gets weird for us.
Hmm.
But we're working on communicating that and making sure that it's not going to happen.
Sometimes trades, you can talk about trades before the trade even happens,
Yeah.
right? Um, you can say, "Oh, I'm just looking for a, you know, Q here," right? Or we're gonna short trade on this minion or something, right?
Hmm.
Um, or stuff like that. Um, we can communicate the trade before it happens. Wave management. Well, we said we would set a goal for this later, but what do you feel about? I feel that. What do you feel about wave management?
I think we generally play like first three waves pretty well. We get on the same page. We communicate with jungler about what we're doing with the first three waves. After that, it's kind of coin flip. It depends on like game state and how we feel about the game state and how the lane matchup goes. So I'm not sure. I think first three for sure pretty good, but the rest of them not so sure.
What I would encourage you to do is that when an opportunity arises, path from base. You probably already know this, but I did see it a few times. When an opportunity arises, path from base through jungle to get places.
Hmm.
right? And then that gives you the opportunity to do the jungle sup thing or mid jungle sup thing, you know?
Yeah.
Or the mid sup thing, right? We can pan camera mid and be like, hey, right? If you see that the wave is doomed, you can just be like, want me to fix this wave, right?
Yeah.
Sora fix wave? Question mark. Right? Sora fix wave. 3 words, pretty fast, right? Or you can. It takes you about 30 seconds to walk there, anyway, so you have a
Yeah.
lot of time to talk about it. Anything else for here? This one we have watched. We watched.
I think it's fine. I definitely need to. Yeah, I noticed when I was watching the replays that as they what's the word? Like stuck to bot lane, I didn't really go anywhere else. So I plan to try and work on that in the next couple of scrims to move more around the map and try and do more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think just passing through the jungle will help with that because it kind of like subconsciously puts the idea in your head, right?
Mm-hmm. So let's have this as a new mini goal that we are pathing through jungle to get places, right?
Yeah.
2v2s. Did we practice last week?
We did not practice, but we theory crafted.
Okay, good. We what did you theory craft about?
We talked a lot after the new patch about what bot lanes we thought would be good. What was I gonna say? We talked about Zeri and then Lucian Nami, Lucian Milio, trying to decide if they were good or not.
And always ask questions.
Yeah.
If you ask the right questions, you get the answers. Yep. Still the same thing. Ask Rai or Senpai to be there. Rai. Would you like me to create a group DM for the 4 of us plus Soldier?
Sure.
To ask.
Sounds fine to me.
You can literally just like ask anything at any time. Like I did a session with like a private session with another sup, and and we just have a group DM going, and he asks us a lot of times like, what's the thought on Nico support, right? Or it's like,
yeah,
in this draft, was the support I picked the right pick, right? If I was first picking and they didn't they hovered this, right? Or what runes, what items, stuff like that. Anything really. Do we feel that our mini goal of I guess like what is our proficiency on this? Do we still need a reminder to do this once a week, or is this something that we are already naturally doing?
I think we'll probably need a reminder because it's something Sam and I talked about. Like, it's something we always think we should be doing, but we never just make the time for it. We just need a nudge to make the time, I think.
Nudge. Sure. And I think this should be still enough for us to work on. I don't think it's good to add something entirely new, right? Otherwise, that just becomes overwhelming. But as a recap here, we are what is this? Continuing to VOD review and then think about our purpose of my abilities. And then after that, we need to go through the entire checklist and go through the checklist before objectives, and just playing more games.
Yep.
And walking through jungle. That's pretty. There's a lot of stuff, but I think once I simplify it to those things, it should be pretty good.
Yeah, it should be manageable.
Yeah. So I think we meet this part here. We'll just say what you think. We meet this with our new goals. This is something that we didn't really put a goal on. Practice more 2v2s. We have a goal for that. Communicate with team on the right waves. We have a goal for that, which is this one, the checklist.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just everything else that we didn't write a goal on is just communicating.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say or add, or questions?
No, I think this about does it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, and I will be nudging you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay. You're welcome. Thank you very much, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.